So we cannot rest on Sundays because we are serving on that day. For us, Saturday or Monday tends to be the day that we rest because those are days we don't have obligations. Do you miss having time for Jesus and yourself, but you're drowning in the responsibilities of motherhood? If so, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Cheryl, wife, girl mom, and Jesus follower. I learned the not-so-secret ways to become the mom my girls needed by prioritizing Jesus back into my mom life and reclaiming my identity in Christ. If you're ready to build faith while washing dishes, rediscover your identity, and love yourself like your babies do, grab your earbuds and lock that bathroom door for a minute alone. It's time for Mom. Hi, beautiful. Welcome to the Time for Mom podcast. I'm your host, Cheryl. Before we dive in this week, I have something I just have to tell you. I am hosting a free 45-minute workshop in April. Mama, if you are struggling to find time for you when you are juggling your kids, husband, housework, health, and the 20 other things that you're obligated to do, and when you get one thing done, you turn around only to find the last 3 things have been completely undone by your kids, and you yourself just might be 2 seconds away from a meltdown, you need to come. I've been there. I have completely failed to be the mom I thought my kids needed. I couldn't keep the house like I had before kids, work outside of the home. Ain't nobody got time for that. Reading my Bible, praying, it was all I could do to drag myself out of bed to care for the child screaming from the next room. If I closed my eyes, I fell asleep. I felt trapped, worthless, like there was never enough time, and guilty for wanting time for myself. But you don't have to stay there. You aren't failing as a mom. You just need to stop defining your worth by your productivity in motherhood. I am proof that you don't have to lose yourself in motherhood. You can still have time for your relationship with God, your husband, and maybe even find some time to do things you enjoy for yourself while being the mom your kids need. You're a mom, but you're also so much more. You are a leader, a wife, a woman that God trusts to shape your kid. If any of that resonated with you, you need to come to the April workshop. Head to bit.ly time for mom subscribe so you won't miss it when I announce the time. And now let's dive into today's episode. Exodus 20, 8 through 11 is a well-known section of scripture talking about rest. It's part of the 10 Commandments that God gave the Israelites on Mount Sinai. And this section says, remember to observe the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. You have 6 days each week for your ordinary work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath day of rest, dedicated to the Lord your God. On that day, no one in your household may do any work. This includes your sons, you, your daughters, your male and female servants, your livestock, and any foreigners living among you. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens, the earth, the seas, and everything in them, but on the 7th he rested. That is why the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and set it apart as holy. Now, I get it. Rest is hard. It's not productive. Honestly, it seems pointless. It seems like if we stop and rest, it puts us behind for the rest of the week, if not the rest of the month, because there's so many things that need to be done. But God commanded his people to rest, not work. He didn't say on the 11th commandment of thou shalt work. He commanded them to rest. Even to the point of not planning things and letting their land rest on the year of Jubilee, which was every 7 years. There is a pattern of rest all through the Bible and a pattern of consequences when God's people didn't obey his command to rest. I don't know about you, but I struggle to stop doing things. When I was dating my husband and we were on the phone, I was coloring or cleaning. I get a lot of cleaning done on phone calls. In motherhood, though, it is so hard to rest. There always is something that needs done. The dishes always need done. There always seems to be a pile of clean laundry that needs put away. And there is definitely a pile of junk in the catch-all places that slowly steals my sanity. The kids need food like all the time. They want to play games and cuddle. They always seem to want to do things with me, almost like they love me and need quality time. Like, what's with that? Yeah, we're a quality time family. It is hard to rest in motherhood. So hard. It seems like we have to do everything, like I said, and everyone seems to depend on us. While we are dependent on for some things, though, there is so many things that we could let go for one day. In the book, Take the Day Off by Robert Morris, he talks about different kinds of rest: physical rest, mental rest, and spiritual rest. And honestly, I don't remember much else about the book, but I do remember that because it resonated with me. Here's a few things that we as a family have figured out about rest. Like I said, there are different kinds of rest: physical, mental, and spiritual. How you get the rest you need isn't always the same as your spouse, bestie, or even your kids. It's going to depend on where they are at versus you. There are many days when I need physical rest while my husband needs a mental rest, and vice versa. With practice, you can identify where you're needing rest. It took us so long to realize that, hey, we can rest on any day. It doesn't have to be on Sunday. And I realized that there's some people that may not agree. However, as it says in the Bible, God made the Sabbath for man, not man for the Sabbath. With the life that we live, the culture that we live in, it's not always possible to rest on Sunday or Saturday, depending on your belief system. It honestly doesn't matter. It's not important what day you rest. My husband is a worship director. If you know somebody who works in a church, I guarantee you that a church day is not restful. Sometimes it is downright stressful, especially if there's sound system problems or it can be a thing. Church days can just suck the life out of you. So we cannot rest on Sundays because we are serving on that day. For us, Saturday or Monday tends to be the day that we rest because those are days we don't have obligations. So what could work for you and your family around school and work? I mean, maybe you're a homeschool family, so you could rest on a Wednesday. Maybe you're like our school district and you have Fridays off. Your school does. Maybe you could do a Friday. Don't stay stuck in a box. Finding rest takes experimentation and trying new things and figuring out what works for you and your family. The next thing that we figured out, the rest we need varies week to week. Sometimes it's even more like hour to hour. Sometimes we have lazy days and we don't do a lot physically. I'll just sit on the couch and watch movies with the girls, cuddle with them, play games. Other times we desperately need to get out of the house. And on those days, we'll take walks. We'll go on an adventure. We'll take the truck and go up in the mountains because we live in rural Montana. We can do that. Last Saturday, we went out to what we call the butterfly house, and it's an insectorium, and we just had fun looking at butterflies for half the day, and that was refilling. Sometimes, though, we also need to get together with friends and play games, because getting together with friends and playing games and socializing, it's not 2020 anymore, we can socialize, is building community, and it is mentally refreshing. It is energizing to our souls. So if you don't have somebody that you can hang out with, I highly, 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 highly recommend that you maybe invest some time in figuring that out. There are also times that mommy just needs to sleep for 12 hours straight, right? A girl can dream. I can't remember the last time I slept for 12 hours. If it isn't the kids, it's my bladder. So anyway, I got sick last month, and that illness required that I had to sleep. It took me out. It took me and my kids out, and we got a lot of sleep. My one daughter ended up sleeping for 16 hours. When things like that hit, you absolutely need to prioritize physical rest. Which kind of leads into the next one of what kind of rest are you needing this week? Like I said, it varies. It varies week to week, moment to moment, month to month. There are different seasons of rest. And I'm going to dive into this a little bit deeper next week. The rest that I need most often is physical. I do need mental rest because being a mom mentally is exhausting, and it can be exhausting when you're married just because, relationships are hard and they take a lot of work. I do need mental rest every few weeks. I've been able to pattern this out, but I'll also snag moments throughout the week. I like watching sewing videos on YouTube. I like listening to podcasts. I like talking to my husband or calling a friend. All of those things for me provides mental rest. The weird one is decluttering. Decluttering also provides mental rest for me because it just makes my brain happy. I try to be in the Bible and pray every day. Most of the time I succeed, but not always. And even though I do that, I still need to have days of focused spiritual rest where I'm focusing on God and prayer and just resting in His arms. The absolute hardest part is sticking to rest. The world around us says everything needs done immediately. And sometimes it does, but most times it absolutely doesn't. It's not real. The urgency that we have around tasks is not real. It's an expectation that we've put on ourselves or society has put on us, and we need to break out of that. 2 Timothy 1:7, for God does not give us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. We can always catch up on housework. Let's use a little bit of this self-discipline that God gave us to follow what the Lord has commanded since the beginning of time. Rest. Trust me, your body, your mind, and your spirit will thank you. We need rest. It was a commandment for a reason. It's for our benefit, not for our harm. Something that somebody said, I don't remember if it was someone in church leadership or a book that I read, but schedule rest in. If you have a rest day and someone approaches you with something and you're like, I don't want to do that, don't do it. You can say no to things simply because you have a date with yourself, your family, and God. And you don't have to explain yourself. That's the other thing that we tend to do way too much is go, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do that because of this, this, and this. And if it's not a good enough reason, we feel obligated to say yes. We don't have to do it. We don't have to say yes all the time. We can say no. It's okay. No one's going to die unless it's, someone's needing CPR, you know how to do it and you say no. And then that could be a legit thing. But anyway, find your rest. So I want you to do a little bit of homework this week. How can you find rest this week? What kind of rest do you need? Where are you the most drained? Is it physical? Is it mental? Is it spiritual? What day can you as a family rest on? Maybe you need to have a couple of days where you rest with your kids and then you rest with your husband, because resting together as a family is still important, but I understand life is hard with that sometimes because of work and school and obligations. But really think it over and talk it over. What day can your family rest on? And when you figure any of that out, head on over to bit.ly timeformomchat and leave a comment. There is a link in the show notes, so you don't have to remember that. All right. Until next week, mamas, I just pray that you find rest. You find how you need rest. Play around with it. Pray. Ask God to reveal where you need your rest. And remember to subscribe so you won't miss the next workshop, because it's going to be amazing. Until next week, love, Cheryl. Hey, beautiful. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds to share this with a mom who is wading through those mounds of laundry and dishes and wishing for just a little me time? Also, please leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. It makes my day to know this podcast has helped you. Well, it's time for me to wash more dishes and cook more food. I'll meet you next Wednesday for another episode. Until then, may the God of grace fill you with his peace. Bye.